Yes, Uncle, watch out. There we go.
Walk this way, everybody, in a nice single file. What Uncle Max is doing, like Christians use holy water, he's using smoke to purify your spirit and get rid of any negative energy that may be present. So feel free to come up to Uncle Max. Just immerse yourself in the smoke. Cover yourself in it. Come up, folks. Come in. There's Uncle Max from the Budgety tribe. Come through, guys. Walk through. Suck it up.
Loves the pretty ones. Look out, ladies.
Oh. Come in, folks. Come in.
Come on, guys.
Wash yourselves in it. It's all about sharing, eh? Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Come through.
How'd they go? Oh. Yeah, well, let's snort up and dance. That's the there we Have you guys gone? Have you gone through? Hey, David, let me go. Thanks, Auntie. Is everyone else gone? Yay, thank you. Thank you, Auntie.
Well, that last session, you talk about healing. That's what culture is about. See the joy in you? That's the healing. And that's what elders like us like to see, is young men and women is taken their culture with mind, spirit, and heart and doing something with it. I'm like Gamaroy. I'm sick and tired of hearing people say that Aboriginal culture on the eastern seaboard is dead and buried. Some of the ancients are, but the wonderful culture and spirituality still lives on, because it's shared with plant life, tree life, animal life, and also waters. And that's how we, as Aboriginal people, lived in this ancient land. And that's our ancientness of being one with Mother. There's Mother Earth, Father Sky, Grandmother Moon, and Grandfather Sun. Now those principal grandparents and parents mean so much to us, besides our flesh grandparents and parents. When I take people out into the bush, I say, let's go out and watch the land talk to us. And people go, oh, what have we got here? But that's it. You see, the greatest so-called teachers, I'm talking about these flesh fellas, has got nothing to nature. Nature is the greatest teacher of all. So when my ancients, my grandfather, he lived to be 104. I want to live to be 105. My mum lived to 99. So, I got the genealogy there. And one of the most other wonderful things I got there is my Aboriginal genealogy. Because I remember what my old people told me. I remember what they told me without speaking. You've got to go through, I guess, the suffering that I went through of 17 years of sitting with 5 elders at a time, 1 pupil, 5 masters. So I had to go through that to learn, because I wasn't allowed to go to school back in the 30s and the 40s. But to be able to do that, to go through those teachings with my masters, I call them masters. One was my grandfather and 5 uncles. And when they would say things to me like, hey, don't do that, don't go over there, I wouldn't go over there, because I never had in my vocabulary why or what for. If I did, bang. See, you don't question authority. You don't question spirit. There's this wonderful thing that they taught me about accepting. Think of the gift you get at Christmas time, Easter time, or your birthday. Yeah, I get a birthday this year too. I'm one of them fellas, So I'm only a young fella, I'm not close to 80. So to be able to take those things what the ancients told me, and I had to listen. I had to take it within so that it settled. And then when it was settling right within me, my mind became clearer. And I used that in the 60s and 70s, travelling up here to Sydney, in a motor car, lead foot. Eh? I used to jump. It's about a 4-hour drive down into my country, and I used to jump in the motor car, turn the ignition, and whoosh. Eh? And I'm coming up to Sydney for something. Hey, 5 or 10 k's out, you know what was happening? Now, when I get there, all the parking, I'll have a parking spot there. See, I'm 4 hours away. but my mind was up here. And here I am sitting in a motor car, the nut behind the wheel. So I had to start to look at me, see, and understand me. So I'd pull my car over, anyway, jump off out of it and go and sit under a tree. Let it clear. Let my mind stop from racing. And that's why when I fight for the survival of trees and that, I know what they do. Because I know with all those trees and the trunks, from the ground to the root, to the trunk, to the bark, to the limbs, to the twigs, to the leaves, to the fruits of those trees, the properties that's in there. And we don't even look at that. We'll only look at a tree for a bit of shade. And there we go again. Me, I. You know? We should never do that. We should then first thank the tree that it's there for us to have shade, and then go under. Not run at it like a bull out of a gate, because we're hot and sweaty and can't stand the heat. We've got to think and be there with nature. And as I said, nature's the greatest teacher of all. And I keep repeating that. Over the many, many years of teaching people about the land, I just keep telling them that nature is the greatest teacher of all. And sometimes I move my focus to water. But I put an S on the end of that water. And once you look at that S, so it says waters. And then you continue to do that, and you're creating that stream. You create that river, and then you know what that river means. From the spring, the little bubbly spring, to the creek, to the rivers, to the salt. And in all those parts of the bends of those rivers are some of the greatest stories of our people. The big bend in the river, it is such a wonderful place to be and to sit and to fish. The Big Bend. Why do we do that? Because of that wonderful energy that comes around. And then it'll swirl, and that's where your food is. See? We don't understand that. There's always a story there. There's always a story in some of them bends in the river. And it's so important that each and every one of us can sit on the bank of a river and watch it and understand it. It's not just a big mass of water. It's telling you, you look at the current, and it's telling you what it's bringing with it. It's also telling you what strength it has. So I didn't realize this, and I was probably about 7 or 8 years of age. And there's a particular river that I was on. Was one of our big major rivers in this country that they call Australia. It's called the Snowy River. Now this wonderful river with its strong currents and everything, all the mums and dads and uncles and aunts went out into the field, you know, doing all the slave work for the farmers, you know. And there was two old couple, an uncle and an aunt, left there to look after probably about 30-odd kids, you know, all these burrais. And then this little old uncle, a lovely little man, he had a great voice, and he had this beautiful smile, and can he sing? And his lovely old wife, Auntie Bess. So Uncle Foster and Auntie Bess were our minders for the day. They didn't have to go out and work because they had enough work there looking after 36 burrais. Huh? So Uncle Foster said to me, "Hey, Dulamunmun, go down and get a billy can of water." So I grabbed the billy can and all the other kids are gone playing. And so I skipped down the bank, you know. I went down the bank and then I looked around and I dipped the billy can in the water, see? And I back up and I put the billy can of water down in front of Uncle Foster. Now this lovely little man with this lovely smile and beautiful voice kicked the billy can of water over. Oh. And this was my part of knowing, on my journey of knowing, when he kicked that billy can of water over. And he said to me, "Now go down and get 2 billy cans of water." Hello, punishment here, you know. So I grabbed the other billy can and the one that was kicked over and down the hill, but this time I wasn't skipping and hopping and singing, see. I was going down and I got the 2 of them, see. And I looked at them and they were full. See? And I said, and then they're going to stay that way when I climb up the bank and take it back to Uncle Foster. So I tippy-toed up the bank, eh? And I had this big cheesy grin. I was right, I was deadly. Eh? And then I walked out and I said, "There, Uncle," and I put him down so gingerly, you know, and so deadly. And then he went bang, bang. Eh? How they taught me was, don't lay the blame on anybody else. See? So I stood up and I sort of looked, and that lovely smile wasn't there on Uncle Foster. And I thought, what am I doing wrong? See? That's how they taught me. Not lay the blame. See? Like we usually do, point the finger. You laughed at me, eh? Yeah. What am I doing wrong? And then Uncle Foster said, grab the bucket. And the bucket was an old 4-gallon tin, kerosene tin, with 2 holes punched in the side and a bit of wire, you know, that we nicked off the farmer's fence and then bent it, you know, to make an handle. And down we go again, you know, and this time I'm carrying the little billy can and the big bucket. So I go down and I sat there for a while in the sand. And I got no call, not one call from this uncle. he was leaving me. Because as I told you before, this is where my healing started to begin. So I sat there and I looked at the river. And then I went into child's play. I dug a hole in the sand and I watched the water come in. I watched the water come into that hole. And I still sat there and there was no voice up on the bank singing out, "Where's the water?" There was nothing. So I filled the big bucket up. And I measured myself up against that bucket and I flexed my little muscles. And I looked up the bank and I thought, ooh, can I get this up there? But then what about the billy can? And so again, I filled the billy can up then. And I said, he said to get the bucket and the billy can. So I filled that up out of the hole that I dug in the sand. And then I heard this voice up on top of the bank. "You got the bucket full?" "Yeah, Uncle." "You got the billy full?" "Yeah, Uncle, but you know, see?" And I'm measuring my little self with this big bucket of water. And then he said, "Leave it, I'll come and get it." So after 3 billy cans kicked over, and a bucket full and another little billy can full, he's coming down for it. So when he got down to the bucket, I thought, okay. And I grabbed the billy can. See? And I thought, it must be right this time, because Uncle Foster's coming to pick the bucket up. And then he said to me, "No, leave that. I'll take that. You can go and get some wood for the fire." And away he went. Now, he wasn't a big man, but he got up that bank with this big 4-gallon tin of water and a little billy can, and he got up that bank. And as I was going up and I grabbed some sticks and that and some wood, I looked back down at the river. And in particular, I looked at the hole where I got the water from. And there was a beautiful light, just went ping. And I knew exactly what I was doing wrong. You see, when you're 7 years of age, or whatever I was, I should have known better how to take something with respect. See, the first 3 billy cans of water I took, I just went, shh. See, I raped the river. I never asked the river for 1 bit of water. And that's what that old man was teaching me. Ask it. Don't take it. Let it come through to you. And that was a wonderful lesson for me. But I've done it plenty of times before. Dug a hole with the uncles and dad and them, and my mum and aunties. Help them dig a hole to let the water come through. day, when I take water out of a tap that's laid on, I take it with respect. I must. Because if I don't, that healing will start to diminish. I will end up in a bit of pain. And I know that.